This is the Friday show. I think we know what that means by now. Something a little bit, I don't know, I won't say creepy, but, you know, interesting on the creepy side of things, maybe. Anyway, we're walking around the medieval city, and we came across a cemetery. And you wanted to make sure that I distinguish it as Protestant, but I think what we're going to try and do here is I've got the recorder, obviously, some other equipment, including an EMF meter, and just for fun, because we had a previous episode about the EVPs, we'll review this when we get back to the hotel room, see if we hear anything, and maybe you can figure out some ways to encourage some sort of response. I don't know. You're more of the guru than I am. Anyway, so yeah, we'll see. It's just for fun, but you know, sometime in a medieval city and a cemetery, you know, there's got to be a lot of age and wisdom, shall we say, and electromagnetic energy, maybe. So we'll see what we can find out, just for fun.
Also, why I wanted him to distinguish between the Protestant cemetery and the Catholic cemetery is usually the Catholic cemeteries are much older than the Protestant ones. Also, a lot of the artwork, funerary artwork associated with Catholicism, has a much deeper tradition than that with the Protestantism.
This is true.
And so that's what I was hoping that we could find a Catholic cemetery within walking distance of the public transport, and we'll keep trying on that. We had kind of a hard time finding this.
The Protestants are just wayward Catholics, so it's like...
No, I would not say that, not at all. I would say that their religious outlook is much more restricted and a lot more reined in, where the Catholics have had plenty of time to come up with very, very intricate artwork. And so while we're walking through here, I'm just going to describe some of the funerary art that I see. And right now, where we're standing, we just came through the gate. We just got this hooked up.
You have to take a few breaths and get the vibe going so you can have receptive to a feeling of some sort.
Oh, a feeling, okay. A lot of open book artwork. These are old monuments, granite and limestone monuments. And right now, just from where I'm standing, I am looking at it's rather nice. It's a huge monument. And the front edge of it has what appears to be a tree stump in front. And from that stump, there is an intricately made iron chain that swags right and left from the center stump to what look like, pedestals, I'll say. Short pedestals on the front. It's like a barrier to keep people off the monument. But the stump is significant because it signifies a life cut short, something living that has been cut off. And so that's a lot of the significance of that kind of art that you see, especially in old cemeteries. There's an open book. The whole top of the monument it looks like an open book. And it has a cross, a Christian crucifix on top, and then two more of those urns on either side. Now, I'm sure in times gone by that those urns would be filled with some kind of candles or something that would burn at night and kind of twinkle. There's other things, smaller art things, more modern things that are on the base of it, but I'm not going to pay too much attention to that. I'm more interested in the old iconography on there. I see on the side of the monument there are more of the tree stump images, and now this is carved out of limestone. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm going to take a quick picture, so bear with me, hang with me a second here. I'll get my phone out and take a picture, and maybe we can get these put up. It might not be today or tomorrow, but soon, I hope. So hang on. There you go.
And at the same time, I'm taking a little minute or two to boot up my EMF meter and just see. We'll get a baseline here because we're just at the edge of the cemetery through the door there. So Want to see if we see any change in electromagnetic field strength. So we'll go quiet here and there, but hang in there with us. Okay. All in good fun, of course, but there is some scientific basis, as we said in previous podcasts, that everything is electromagnetic energy if you dig down far enough to the fundamentals. And therefore, it just makes sense that in areas where there is increased electromagnetic energy, then there will be either increased mass on some level or in so-called spiritual energy. Not meaning a religious connotation there, but anything that is not physical is quote-unquote spirit, or the ether, like they used to call it, something unknown. The pigeons are interested in us. Good thing they're not bigger than we are.
This is true. Okay, let's walk.
I feel like I'm announcing at a golf tournament.
This is actually a really fine endeavor for today. It's very sunny out, very hot. And so if you're walking long distances in the heat, that can get uncomfortable. But cemeteries are good places to visit on a hot day because they're usually shady. And that is absolutely the case today. This is a beautiful place to walk. And so, I'll get my pack back on. Hang on.
Okay.
We're very unprepared.
No, we're prepared. We just need a minute to boot up all of our wacko devices here.
Well, the thing is, too, is you can't just boot this stuff up because a lot of the screens are difficult to read in the full sun. So you need to get to a shady place before you can do it. Anyway, are you ready?
Apparently not. Go ahead and
Okay. All right, well, I'm just going to walk around and I'll catch you in a second. A lot of these are above ground monuments, coffin-shaped monuments. Lots of crucifixes. This one is interesting. This one has a planter in front of it, a big, above ground planter. This is a family one. Not a lot of artwork other than a large crucifix. And I think that will be mostly the case. We'll see a lot of open books and that sort of thing. In older sections of cemeteries, you often see images of hourglasses with wings, and sometimes you'll see that the sand is all drained into the bottom of the hourglass. This is quite straightforward. A lot of iron chains around the outside, presumably to prevent people from climbing on the monuments themselves. They're cutting grass here. You can hear that. You can probably hear bird songs. This is a wonderful place for birds. I'll kind of loop around here and then back to Dave. I'm kind of paying attention to see what sorts of plants. There's gold dust croton. I thought I saw mint, which would be interesting because mint is unkillable. So let's look here. This is along a wall. There's huge English ivy leaves here. Really big, which tells you that they have been there a while. Yeah, these are really old, these graves. This one here. Do I see? Some of them, the dates on them are really, really worn. I won't read any of the names. Privacy issues. People might not like that. I might not if I thought about it. Now here is an interesting section. This section here has low graves, and it appears to me that these might be unnamed soldiers. And it's that they have what looks like a sword point downward through these small rectangular blocks of limestone, and they are probably soldiers who died in battle and were, no one knew who they were. And there appears to be 2, 5, 8, 11 of them here, and all of them say the same thing: Souvenir Français. And the sword hilt also says the same thing. That's incised in the iron. And then there's a cross. It looks like a Maltese cross. I don't know if that's accurate, if that's actually what it is, but that's what it looks like. Sort of a triangular arms of the cross. So this is kind of nice too. These are from looks like 1914 to 1918. And there's a back of this that I just noticed, actually, because the crosses are painted a deep green. The crosses, what really are sword hilts, are painted a deep green. And then morts pour la patrie, which means they died for our country. And then in the back, there's quite a long list of names. They appear to be inscribed on what look like tablets. When you think of the Moses, the tablets that the Lord gave to Moses with the 10 Commandments, that's what these look like. And there appears to be 4 with names and then a central one describing that these are soldiers who died in battle. There's this plant, I don't know. It looks a little bit like a salvia. I'm not sure. Here's some more. These are more recent. Some of these are family monuments. And again, very straightforward artistic decoration. Lots of crosses. Here's kind of an obelisk shape over here. That's really nice. Very different. This looks very old. Let's see. This dates 1828. So that's kind of cool. There's a lot of yew trees planted here. And those are called literally cemetery yews. When you see those kinds of skinny evergreen trees, those are often planted in cemeteries. And so when you see those, you can... Hey, Dave? Did I leave anything there?
No,
Here.
I don't think so.
Well, here,
Okay, got a baseline of 37, and took a while to get that. Here, in this particular location, right now we got about 48.
I have to go take a picture. I'll be right back.
Okay.
You're going to have some editing to do.
No, just let it roll. Natural. The real experience. Walking around looking at my meter. It does vary. Try over here. Oh yeah? There's a spike of about 50. We invite any EVP communication. We got a spike of about 50. The baseline was 37. So it does vary. I have to point out that we're not near any electrical lines or anything like that.
Okay. All right. All right, we're going to walk down the main avenue here, see if we see anything different. You see a lot of urn shapes. Whoops, stay up there. This is some of the above ground monuments, the coffin shaped things, have ironworks like a big archway around them with crosses on top or some other little decorations.
See, now just a little bit difference that we walked now, and it dropped another 10. So that area over there.
This here where we're heading in is a newer area. I think I would like to move closer over to the wall because those appear to be much older. So, and there's some I was mentioning some on there that are unknown soldiers' graves.
Oh.
So,
What era did it say?
1914, I think, to 1918, something like that.
First World War-ish.
Yeah, here's one that's kind of cool. The one I'm looking at now appears to be a scroll open on top of a very tall monument for this cemetery. I've seen taller in other cemeteries, but this one is more restrained in its decoration. So that, what's your reading look like?
That's only slightly higher there.
Okay, here, you
Not-
want to
not
hold this
enough.
while I take a picture? I want to take pictures as we're going along because it helps to keep it, to keep track of where we are in this recording with what we're seeing. So
Maybe we'll have to come back at like midnight, and it'll
no, I
be
won't be back there at midnight.
just higher reading. It's just because it's dark and midnight, But like I say, we're far away from any power lines or anything like that, so it is interesting that you do see variations. And sometimes when you expect to see a higher variation, like we are here now with sort of a mausoleum kind of thing, versus just a more simple grave site, you can't predict by the size of the particular site. Yeah, that's surprisingly kind of back down to baseline that I took just before we entered the grounds on that particular site there. Go on the other side of this track.
The one that I just mentioned with the scroll on top dates from 1789. So you were there, and I asked, and you didn't see anything. The carving, all of these, is gone. But what's interesting that I'm seeing right now is a tree has grown up over the top of one of the limestone slabs.
Oh, so that shows great age, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Let me put that in there a little further and see if we can read that still.
I am reading, and it is moving. 37, 36, 37. Wait, don't move. It's going. It's getting higher. It was 42.5, 41,
Okay,
43.
significantly
Okay,
different.
I'll have you hold this while I take a picture of the tree root growing over the top of the slab. So
Okay, go for it. Oh, that's interesting. Went from that to almost 58 and then back down again, as if something just flew past us.
Oh.
You, actually. It hovered over top of your head for only about
That's my
3
guardian
seconds.
angel. overworked as always. Okay. That's very interesting there. Okay.
You need to invoke or invite some EVP responses.
Okay, let me. Yeah, let's go. Let's loop back around. This is very old section here.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Oh, look at this one. This one is quite old. This one appears to be a limestone cross made to look like it's made out of tree. Wait, don't. You may not. Stop. Okay. It's hard to see. It appears that it's made out of logs, like it's a cross made out of logs, which is a cool thing. Yeah, we're looking at 44. 44, popping in and out of 44.
Oh, it just jumped up to 56.
Oh, really? Well, let me read this one.
Oh my God, we're over 60 in that direction. It'd be like the Ghost Hunter show. Oh my God, look at that. That one's in that direction. It's over 60.
Yeah, there it is. This one.
Yeah, it's staying like 57, 60, 62. Over there.
Okay, I'm going to see if I can read the date on this one.
Is that the 62 one?
Yeah. 1870 maybe? Looks like 1870. That's pretty old. Not terribly old though. All right, let's go up in here. There's some more old ones over there we'll have a look at. Okay, you have to watch really because there's a lot of low stuff on the ground. Here's another open book, Bible. And it looks like a Christian cross. It looks like the Bible is laid on top of the Christian cross, but the upper point of the cross is gone. And these are limestone slabs on the ground. About, probably 5 feet by 3 feet. No, the inscriptions on all of these seem to be worn right off. Occasionally you can see a little bit of an inscription, but not enough to be definitive. And here's one that is put sideways, but there's no way to read it because I would have to stand on someone else's grave to see it. They were really kind of needing space, and so a lot of these are way too close. Here's another situation where a palm tree, come this way just a little, palm tree has grown up in the middle of an awful lot of slabs. Here's some small ones, presumably children. And there's, like I say, the carving on these is so worn that you can't really read them. You can't, Dave.
Yeah, I just did.
Here's another one. This one's easier to read because it looks like a limestone slab, but it has a marble, a well-carved marble plaque on it. And this one is much more recent. This is 1970. So, very good. And that one has an iron gate all the way around it. Okay, let's go further this way. Okay. I want to go along the wall here. There's another little section over here, but it's very tight. There's so many little and big slabs. Here's one. This one dates to 1936, so not very old. But that doesn't mean you won't pick up energy.
That's right. You'd like to try this.
This has a wonderful tall limestone wall. That wall is probably 7 feet high and kind of rounded at the top. Here's a bed of irises. Now, this is a grave I really like. It's a limestone crucifix in the back, and the whole top of this is a garden. And someone has planted irises in there.
Oh, that's nice.
It is nice. Okay. You want to take a step this way? Thank you. Wait. Click. There we go. Picture that garden one. That's very nice. One of the reasons that I like to look in the cemeteries is for the really fanciful art. And you're not going to find that in a more modern cemetery. You'll find some things that are very pleasant to see. But mostly it will be a more modern sensibility. Here, what I'm seeing are a lot of wreaths, Capo di Monte wreaths, which would be ceramic flowers. And they're very, very beautiful and rather fragile. So it's kind of surprising that they do as well as they do out in the elements on top of a grave. Here's one here that has, this one dates from 1918, and it has a Croix de Guerre on it, which I think has some military significance. Let me take a picture of this too. Okay. And I'll take a long shot of it. So,
Mike a sec.
okay, let me take a better picture.
Yeah, you're a little less encumbered. A lot of these are, some of them are flipping around quite a bit. They're not steady. I'm getting somewhere between the 40 and 50 range, but it fluctuates a lot. So I don't know if there's any significance to that. But once again, actually, you're the more hoo-ha person than I am. Would you invite any EVP communication?
I wouldn't know how to begin to do that. Thank you for believing in powers that I don't think I have. But I will say, the energy here is lovely. You know, it doesn't feel like a spooky or scary place. This feels like a place where families come to honor their loved ones, and it feels like space is at a premium here, and I'm enjoying being here. It's a nice place to be. Nothing creepy about it, nothing weird about it, really.
So far.
I know that's what we're hoping for on Freaky Friday, but, you know, let's say that's an anomaly, not the usual. Here's another one that's pretty good.
That might be a nice long shot down that way.
One thing that's also interesting here is you see a lot of Spanish influence all over the south of France. And the ironwork, the lacy ironwork, is absolutely lovely. And so that I'm appreciating as we go along. Some of the gates around the graves and some of the crosses on the graves. Now here's another one. This grave is quite fancy.
All right.
This is from Oh gosh, this is pretty new. Actually, the Sanchez family, and this is from 2019, but it looks ancient, and I'll take a picture of this. The cross is made to look like a tree with knots where branches have been cut off. I'm going to step back and do it. Oh, that's very nice. Okay, some of these are all new graves.
Okay, but again,
We'll walk over to
it
against
still
the
could
far
be
wall.
energy. Yeah.
The far walls. The paths along this area are nicely kept.
And again, according to my ideas, like I've spoken in previous podcasts, is it doesn't mean that the spirit is trapped there, in my opinion. It means that you are picking up on energy that was impressed into the environment and sort of reading it back. It's not, like a ghost or anything. In my humble opinion, that is.
Something interesting I'm seeing that's a modern touch is family photographs that have been printed on metal. And those are on little standards on top of the graves to show that the family still remembers the fun times they had together. And the picture there is a way to inspire happy memories rather than sad memories. And I like that too. So as I suspected, we're not seeing a lot of the fanciful stuff. This one, another scroll. This one's very pretty with nice ironwork around it. Old.
Check it out. We will check it out. Put the meter on it.
Take a step back if you would.
Oh, my way of your picture there.
Yep, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Okay, this one dates from... Yeah, that one, this grave that I'm looking at with the open scroll against, again, a cut-off tree. This is, the carving on it is all worn.
You see, no.
It looks like the name on it is Basque or Pasque, but no 41 on that.
I got a spike here. It was quite a bit higher than that. So I'm going to stand one second more.
Let go of the iron, maybe.
Oh, that should help if anything.
To ground you.
This way. Well, I will tell you. Mike's walking away from me. I will tell you that that was another instance of seeing a big spike kind of rise up if you were looking at it like on a graph or a waveform.
Well, let's do this. The carving on this grave, it looks like Pasque
Oh, there we go. See it?
or
You see
Basque
it? You see it?
is worn off. And I'm wondering the name of the person that is here. Is it Pasque?
We'll be quiet for a minute. Maybe they'll EVP it to us.
There's also birds in the tree.
Yeah, that's normal. No, now this high reading is pretty steady in the 50s. And the initial, up and down movement of the reading is now steadier. By quite a bit. That's significant.
Pasque. And that's the one with the open
You don't see a
scroll.
date on that?
I can't. No, it's all worn away. Tell us who you are. We want to know who you are and when you lived.
Yeah, the energy's steady, so we'll shut up for another few seconds.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay.
very high reading.
And it's very steady at the moment.
This is one of the higher ones we've gotten. We're like 53, 54.
And not jumping around. It's quite stable. Okay, last chance to talk to us.
Could you birdies be quiet a
No,
moment?
they're all right. It's always a voice. It's not birds. Interesting.
Yes. Okay.
Interesting. We'll see how quick it falls as we walk away. It fell immediately to 36, the baseline. Right?
What?
3 steps, and it fell to the baseline of 38.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Interesting. I got a little chill on my spine.
Did you?
I did. I'm psyching myself out, I'm sure.
Here's another obelisk with pretty ironwork. The links on the chain are very nice. These are all very modern. I think we'll loop out of here. I'm getting bit up.
You're not getting bit up.
I am getting bitten up.
Well, if you do, why don't you stay and get a lot of bites and see if they spell anything?
I'm dumbfounded that anyone would even say something like that.
And then we're near the perimeter again, and it's fallen into a pretty steady baseline reading. So anyway, I think we'll wrap that up at this point. But yeah, it's pretty interesting actually.
Okay, so you were with us when we did these readings, and you kind of understand what we've been looking at. And while I'm a little disappointed in the art department because there seems to be a lot of repetition and it's not quite so fanciful as what I hoped for, there are other cemeteries in the area.
Well, that was part of the whole Protestant thing, though, wasn't
Yes,
it?
it
They'll say,
was.
just stop all the hoo-ha and the fancy hats and stuff and just, look at the person.
Yes, and also that is between man and God. It doesn't need to be all filled with pomp and circumstance and that sort of thing. And so this is exactly what we expected to see, but very interesting nonetheless.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us on this adventure. We'll see how it comes out and we'll let you know.
Yeah, we will. Thanks for coming along. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.